Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we'll be telling you about a head-to-head game called Monarch.
Monarch.
2-player.
Not the king, but the butterfly.
There's a king?
Yeah.
Bring down the monarchy.
Ooh. Anyways, Monarch is designed by Setton and Tanya, and it's published by LeFou Games.
Now, in Monarch, you'll try to capture your opponent's monarch with butterflies and caterpillars. Will you be able to make that move? Let's find out. Let's head over to the table and give you an overview of how the game is played. In Monarch, your goal is to capture the other player's monarch. You'll do this by simultaneously planning movements across the board, aiming to use your caterpillars and butterflies to land on the opponent's monarch. Each turn, you and your opponent will simultaneously plan movement of one of your units by placing a die corresponding to the caterpillar, butterfly, or monarch you want moved in the direction you want to move them in. Caterpillars can only move up or down, left or right. When reaching the opposing side's milkweed, they'll transform into a butterfly and be moved back to the home milkweed space. Butterflies can move in any direction, including diagonals. Monarchs can also move like butterflies, but they may not cross the fence in the middle of the board. Now, a couple of movement rules. If any two units finish their movement on the same space, they both move back to their home milkweed space. If a unit is present in their home milkweed space, they'll move back to their own, and so on. Besides moving, you can also choose not to move and maybe even fortify. If you choose the X on the die, none of your units will move. But if the X is placed on the exact same space as your opponent's die, you've essentially predicted your opponent's move and you have fortified. Your opponent's unit will move back to their home milkweed space and your units will remain in their current space. Now you'll keep playing moving units until a monarch has been captured, which happens when a caterpillar or butterfly land on the same space as an opposing monarch. At this point, the player who captured the monarch wins. Now that out of the way, let's talk about some of the key features of Monarch.
Yes. The one thing I'll highlight before we get into this is from the designers of Picky Eaters. So if you enjoyed that game, I actually think that this one is worth checking out. It's definitely different in playstyle, but it still gives that like friendly, approachable vibe.
Yeah, and it is a prototype, so it may not be final. For the final version, make sure to hit that link in the description to learn more about the game. With that out of the way, some of the key features. Number one.
I kind of just said it. It's approachable. But it's an approachable head-to-head. So they have it ages 5+, which I think is awesome because you can play it with a lot of younger children, but you can also just play this as your couple. It has some like nice little strategy that feels like chess, but it is of course a little bit simplified in that sense.
Yeah, a lot of the replayability is the players that you play.
Yes.
As you develop strategies, as you develop what you're doing, you may learn something from an opponent, be like, ooh, that was a really clever play. I want to come back and do that next turn, and then you'll keep playing. But outside of that, there's not a lot of replayability. Like, there's not a variability between game to game. So you really get to master the game that you play.
Yeah, for sure. This game is definitely about learning how to play the game and the intricacies of like the strategy behind it, and then like of course playing the player. It's fun to be able to get in the head of your opponent to maybe like confuse them into what exactly is it that I'm going to do, and if they do one thing, you've got them tucked in the corner where it's a win and inevitable.
Yeah, Tyler and I often don't gravitate towards those types of games, but it does feel really good outsmarting you sometimes. Or in this case, you've outsmarted me in a really clever play when last time we played this. I thought I was doing something so clever, and I didn't even see it coming, and Tyler captured my monarch.
Yeah, and the difference between being able to use the butterflies, the monarchs, and the caterpillars is really interesting because, of course, like you have limited movements with the caterpillars. Being able to like take a win with just moving one of them forward actually feels really, really cool, but it's because you've been able to like manipulate around the board and set things up that it seems risky for the other player to move in the other direction. So it's trap. Now
I do think a core feature of this game is the Fortify Action. Now if you do nothing and you predict your opponent's movement, you fortify and send them back. And I haven't seen that in games like this one. And I think it's really clever because a lot of the time you'll think, oh, they're obviously going to do that move, I'm going to go here. But then you can get outmaneuvered and out-tricked because your opponent's going to be like, that's such an obvious move, they're going to fortify and send me back. So it's another layer of strategy to think about. And I find that in our gameplays, it really made the game shine.
Yeah, you took like more time to think about whether or not you actually wanted to do a move, and then like when your opponent took the Fortify Action, you now have like the freedom to do maybe the move that you wanted to do initially. But because like that's already always there, like it's always something you have to be worried about, unless you can't use it 2 times in a row, essentially. But you have to worry about it when it is available for your opponent to play. And it's also very, very rewarding. It feels very good when you guess that what your opponent's going to do.
When you lose,
That's true.
and you're me, tisk.
Yeah.
Well, that is
Monarch!
If you want to learn more about this game, go in the description down below, hit those links, ask us questions. We're happy to answer them in the comments below down as well.
And of course, this game is coming to crowdfunding, so you can find all those details down below. If you're interested in this game, please let us know. We'd love to hear maybe other games that this one reminded you of, and you can leave those down in the comments.
And for our question of the day, what insect do you think needs its own game that hasn't really had a game?
For some reason, like, the cricket comes to mind.
The cricket?
I think that would be kind of cool.
Stick bug. Easy.
Stick bug.
Stick bugs are so cool. I had one when I was younger.
They are pretty cool.
It was a little pet stick bug.
Pet stick bug. They're so cool.
They're
so
very cool.
Stick-like.
Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video,
hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We are so excited to talk about board games with you, and thanks for joining our journey. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.